Hello everyone, Star Ultros coming back today to bring you the update review for tonight's maintenance on FFBE JP. So I tried my best to gather some energy and some interest for this current banner because it's War of Divisions. Fortunately, I'm not a big fan of War of Divisions. I tried it, it was way too grindy for me. People keep saying that it's gotten a lot better now, but unfortunately, I've never been bothered to try it again. So, without further ado, let's go into the first unit. So the first unit here is Lucio, Light of Brilliance. And as an Overwatch player, I'm just going to call him Lucio-Oh the entire time. So our friend Lucio-Oh here is a light, fire, water unit. With also, he's also a breaker. And in terms of other categories, has obviously another world because this is a collab banner. Then War of Divisions, Blessing of the Crystal, like most War of Division units, I think. Royal Arms, Guardians, Elite Soldiers, Saviors, and the brand new category Sword Masters, which is basically everyone with a sword. In terms of TMR, nothing out of this world. Um, he does also get a 500 for Royal Arms category at EX3, a materia. So, classic for NV units. Sorry, NV plus units. He also has a weapon quest for a sword for him. So basically, instead of giving him a sword SDMR, they're giving him a weapon quest. Just, the basic classic thing. In terms of what he does, that is pretty good because he actually is a pretty good unit. Like I have little interest in War of Divisions, unfortunately, but he is a very good unit. Does it mean I'm gonna pull? I'm not sure yet. I'll see in a couple of hours, I guess. So he does have an AoE imbue for fire, water, not imbue, sorry, AoE amplify for 150 for fire, water, and light. A little bit like Terra and Titus. He gets it at EX2, unfortunately, like Titus once again. Other than that, then he has the regular classic breaks. He also has, the classic imbues and chaining stuff. And then in terms of non-elemental chaining, he has both an AMOE and a BS move, so that's pretty good. With the modifiers and everything factored in, it's a 9,800 times modifier, which is basically on par with his LB, so you can use him non-elemental, no problem. To get the max modifier out of it, though, he needs to be EX1. So, it's not a big investment if you were pulling for him, as usually the others get it at EX2, so that's good for him. He also has a killer buff he can give to himself and a friend for aquatic and humans, so a very common race and a very niche race, so that's pretty nice. And a crown jewel in his kit here, I would say. A field for 3 elements, 70%. So fire, water, and light obviously is 3 elements. Very, very good here. He has a perfect dispel for on demand, so it seems to be becoming the norm nowadays, which is great. Always very useful to see. And then he also has a 90% break for defense and spirit, like Terra. It's the very same move. So I would say he's a physical Terra with a little bit more coverage in terms of what he can do. Pretty good unit there. Also, what else can we say about him? Um, Honestly, that's about it. Well, he does have a light imbue within Leica here, which is pretty nice. And then we're just gonna jump over these things and come back. His LB is 1,090 times modifier with all the buffs, so it's pretty good, just slightly lower than the big meta 1100. So pretty good there in terms of damage as well. An AMOE chain. So that's it. And now if we go look at another thing that's very interesting for him. His leader skill is a 1250 for Royal Arms and Guardians. So it's not 1250 and 750 or 1250 and 1000. It's for both 1250 Royal Arms and Guardians. And as you all know, Guardians is pretty much the category to have right now, thanks to our friend Titus, Mr. Laughing. And then his overdrive is for Royal Arms for the 300% stat buff. So I guess if you're bringing both him and Tifa, then you're probably going to cover the entire team. And Titus would be there to buff the water peeps on the team with the extra 30% for water units. Other than that, that's pretty much it for our friend Mr. Lucio-Oh's. So now let's go to the next unit, which is a mage, and it's black-robed witch Elena. Here, Elena, her categories are dark, fire, ice. Sadly, they don't really align well with our favorite DJ Lucio, except for fire. But anyway, she's a mage, so usually less interesting, let's say. She has Another World, War of the Visions, Blessing of the Crystals, Gathering, which we've seen with FF6, I guess. But well, yeah, she can fit with the team for ice. Yeah. Then Royal Arms, Elite Soldiers, and Flowers of the Battlefield, because it's no longer called the Maidens. Now we have an official global name for it. Her TMR is TMR. The TMR, you're never going to use it. As soon as you can replace it with the STMR to trigger the trust ability. So a little bit of throwaway thing here. Also, oh, by the way, their vision card is the same, and it is, better than the usual vision cards with 130 stats, but still, it's not the big category cards or the big element cards. So meh. Her materia is another gathering 500 magic materia. I believe we already have another one. Ortero is only for FF6. Anywho, another magic 500. In terms of her kit, unfortunately, she's a little bit more selfish. So she doesn't have an AoE amplify, so it's only for herself, but she gets it at EX1. Other than that, the classic things. She has CWA chains and BS chains for all her elements. Here she has a move to unlock her big chaining abilities for ice, for fire, and for dark. Sadly, it's a 9-turn cooldown, only usable on turn 9. But she does have the little gimmick that Titus also has to decrease the cooldown. So you triple cast this, and then you can use this on turn 2. Yay, pretty fun, I guess. Other than that, she has a 40% Imperil Field for fire, for ice, and for dark, which is pretty neat. But, sadly, these elements don't really line up well with... well, no, I guess fire and ice go very well together, but... yeah. Anywho, she has a 400% stat buff for the team. And here, one thing that's pretty interesting is she has a 180 Imperil for fire, ice, and dark, combined with her field. It's 220, so that's a pretty good coverage in terms of elemental Imperil. Although usually you want to focus more on one element or two, if anything. And when you do so, you're going to have units with a 200% when you have the big meta units. But still very serviceable to have this on the team. Now if you go look at her chaining abilities, she gets an extra mod for them at EX2, so an extra 300, so it's not that big. But since she will be quad casting them, if you want to bring a friend to chain with her, so if you have a friend Elena somewhere, they can chain it together. And it is quad castable. Usually I mistake it, but I checked. It is quad castable this time, so no one can fault me for this. And it is Bolting Strike, so if you don't have a friend Elena, then you can triple cast it. But if you bring a friend Elena or somebody else who can quad cast Bolting Strike, her chain move is actually a tiny little bit stronger than her LB. But I wouldn't say it's really worth mentioning. It's like maybe an extra 3 mod, I think. Yeah, it was 933 instead of 930. So nothing to write home about. Um, Also, she does have this. It's pretty much a norm now, but I still want to mention it because it's, it is becoming the norm, but it wasn't, let's say, a month ago. So she does have that focus at the end of the cast for each and every of these abilities. And in case you didn't finish with something that gave her focus, she does have an ability that triggers a counter whenever she takes damage or evades to give her 500 MP, which is very, very good. And I hope it's going to trigger a lot because, she's going to be MP hungry with those 200. And we've seen a lot of mana drains recently. And she focuses as well with that counter. So, it's cute. It's nice. Will it ever see use? We'll see. Now her leader skill, we're not going to jump over it because it's funny to talk about it. Sadly, she has a leader skill for 1250 for War of the Visions and 750 to Dark. So she's probably not going to be the one to lead your Chaos Bringers because Bismarck is still a better leader in terms of stats because he got 1,000. And if you want to lead a War of the Visions team, uh, well, if you have Lucio, use him to lead the team. And if you don't have Lucio, why would you bring a War of the Visions team? That is the question. But it's there. And her LB, as I said, is a 930 times modifier. So, slightly lower, but mages are usually lower to account for that focus that they get. And sadly, her LB isn't chaining, it's only 5 hits. So that can be a problem sometimes, especially if you have a team of a lot of people like her in Dark Visions. Say Orin Cloud, her, yeah, people that can't chain. Not always great. And that would be it for Elena. Next thing is here our friend Wing of Destiny Stern. He's getting crowns. Same thing as last well, so nothing very like game changing. It is nice. Don't get me wrong, it's nice, but he's not gonna become meta with this. But it's an extra 360 he's gonna bring to his LB, bring it to 970. And yep, nothing else different for him. But if you don't have too many light units, he can join your War of Divisions team if you had him. Sadly, I never pulled him, even though I did, and I regret, and I'm ashamed of admitting this, but I did go all in to try and get him because I thought he was cool, being one of those strong jewel wielders when it began. Sadly, I didn't get him. And I went broke. Well, not broke in Lapis. Don't worry, I didn't put any yen or any money in there. I'm still free to play on JP. And yeah, I didn't get him, so he still eludes me. And if I get him now, I'll be happy, I guess. But he's not going to be. He's not going to be a main focus of a team anyway with a 970 LB as opposed to the 1090 or 1100 that we see as most meta. But yeah, that's it for Stern. Now I just wanted to bring up something here for Braska's final Aeon. So our favorite daddy, Jekt. Actually, because I mentioned in the previous video, he didn't have the Harbinger of Chaos category, which kind of was a little bit of a disappointment because you couldn't bring him with the Chaos team for Dark. With Bismarck and the other SBB units. Well, they changed that and they gave it to him, so I guess it was a mistake. So now, even though you can say that Yevon was behind the Chaos, Jekt was reveling in it, and so he is a harbinger of harbinger of Chaos himself as well. So you got that category now. In terms of events, so what we have is the Crown Quests for Stern. It says that we're going to be using Royal Arms units to do it, so that's probably going to be for the Lapis. So I'm going to zoom a little bit on this. Yeah. So for the Lapis quest, that's probably going to be what we're going to need. Here, this is the weapon quest for Lucio. So we're going to get the Starlight Sword, which is the 228 attack weapon for him with the flat stats. And the final event is the Mog King event, where we grind and use all our stamina potions until until we fall asleep or until we're done and we get all the event points to cover everything and empty those endless boxes. So happy grinding, everyone, and to anyone who enjoys War of Division, I hope I did not offend you with this video. This is my opinion on the game, sadly, but you're allowed to enjoy it because I've seen a couple of those on Discord, and well, yeah. So go ahead. Good luck in your polls. Since Stern eluded me before, I think I will hold off on Lucio to to not be too bitter again when I don't get him at all. But good luck, everyone, in your polls, and I'll see you again in 10 days. Bye.